Once upon a time, for close friends, Tom, Sarah, Mike, and Emily decided to go to an old camp deep in the forest. This camp had a spooky reputation because there were urban legends about many strange events happening there. However, the youngsters gathered their courage and set off into the forest in search of adventure. Taught the first day, everything seemed fine. They sang songs around the campfire and made wonderful memories. However, on the second night, things began to change. They started hearing strange sounds in the forest and saw bright green lights piercing through the trees. The group members tried to rationalize these events, but their fears were growing. On the third day, Emily went missing. The others started searching for her, but they couldn't find any trace of her. This only heightened the tension in the camp's atmosphere. One night, as they sat around the campfire, they heard a terrifying sound coming from the depths of the forest. The sound resembled Emily's voice, but had a different tone. Tom gathered his courage and began walking towards the direction of the sound. The others waited anxiously. After a while, Tom disappeared. Sarah and Mike, filled with panic, returned, but they couldn't find Emily or Tom again. In fear, they spent the second night in the forest. When morning came, they returned to the entrance of the forest, but they couldn't find their campmates again. Since that day, it was believed that the campsite was cursed, and no one dared to go there. This is a real scary camp story. I hope you enjoyed it. Years ago, 7 friends planned a nature camp that would make their summer unforgettable. Each of them was full of excitement and in search of adventure. The group decided to explore an old and abandoned campsite deep in a remote forest. This place had a spooky reputation and was known as the center of many mysterious events. However, the young adventurers saw these stories as mere legends and set out for their camping trip. When they arrived at the campsite, the surroundings were magnificent: old cabins, pine trees, and a lake right next to them. The first few days went as planned. They sang songs around the campfire, went on hikes in nature, and made beautiful memories. But on the 4th night, everything changed. As darkness fell, strange sounds began to emanate from the depths of the forest. Beyond the murmuring wind and the melancholic calls of birds, eerie screams were heard. The young campers huddled together around the campfire, trying to console themselves. However, as the night progressed, it became clear that something was amiss. Someone noticed the green lights that were coming and going from the depths of the forest. The lights seemed to be moving, as if something was roaming in the forest. The group tried to explain this situation, but they couldn't make sense of it. Eventually, someone remembered someone saying, "Maybe someone's playing a prank," and they decided to gather the courage to go to where the sound was coming from. However, as they ventured deeper into the forest, their fears grew. In the depths of the forest, strange shapes, ghost-like entities, began to appear. As they approached the source of the lights, they heard more and more sounds. Their fear escalated, but they were determined to solve these mysteries rather than turn back. They walked for what felt like an hour, maybe more. Suddenly, they stopped by a massive shadow that appeared in the forest. When they reached the spot where the lights were, they found a graveyard. The tombstones bore the names of those who had lived here years ago. The campers had started to unravel the secrets of this campsite. At that moment, a demonic entity-like figure appeared in the middle of the graveyard, welcoming them with a terrifying scream. The campers started to run, but they got lost in the forest and lost each other. In fear, they wandered in the forest for a night. When morning came, they couldn't find each other and returned to the campsite. However, something was missing. When they returned, they were alone. From that day on, no one dared to go to that cursed campsite, and this story became a legend. Many years ago, deep within the dense forests of New England, a small group of friends made a decision to embark on a wild adventure in the great outdoors. Their names were Matt, Sarah, Ben, Emily, Alex, Lisa, and Mark. They set out on this journey to spend the most unforgettable summer of their lives. The friends ventured deep into the woods and reached a remote camping site. However, this camping area was known among the locals as the Cursed Forest Camp, filled with eerie stories and haunted tales. Once upon a time, this area had witnessed mysterious disappearances and frightening events. But the young adventurers didn't believe these stories and had come here for an adventure. The first few days went smoothly. The friends spent time together exploring the beauty of the forest and enjoying nature. However, on the evening of the fourth day, before darkness fell, things began to take a strange turn. They started hearing odd sounds in the forest. Instead of the usual whistling wind and rustling of leaves, they heard chilling whispers and strange noises as they gathered around the campfire. They noticed strange lights shimmering through the trees. These lights appeared to be dancing, but they couldn't find a rational explanation. The friends tried to make light of these occurrences with humor, but an underlying sense of unease was growing within them. For several days, these peculiar events continued. While sitting around the campfire one night, they suddenly saw eerie figures appearing among the shadows. These beings were vaguely human-shaped, but had indistinct faces. Fearfully, they retreated and made the campfire blaze brighter. But these creatures didn't disappear. It was then that the friends truly began to feel scared. One night, Emily went missing. The others started searching for her, but found no trace. On the second night, group members began disappearing one by one. First Mark, then Alex, and Lisa. Only Matt, Sarah, and Ben remained. Finally, Matt, Sarah, and Ben converged in a clearing deep in the forest. When they arrived, they saw an old, dilapidated cabin at the heart of the cursed campsite. The door was rotten and ajar. As they entered the cabin, they found Emily, Mark, Alex, and Lisa mysteriously frozen inside. An ominous message on the wall read, "Leave now or you'll become one of us." In terror, they fled the cabin and got lost. In the forest, they searched for each other, but they never saw any of their friends again. Eventually, Sarah and Ben returned, but Matt was missing. They set out to find Matt, but after exhaustive searches, they decided to return. When they got back to the campsite, they were alone. They had lost their friends and the terrifying memories of what they had experienced in the depths of the forest would forever haunt them. This is a real, spine-chilling camp story, and questions still surround the events that occurred there. No one dares to visit the Cursed Forest Camp, and this story has become a legend. I hope this story has intrigued and frightened you.